part to, ako lang ika-share ninyo what is my understanding concerning the parable of the sower. So I have said in the first part was the Torah, the seed of Elohim, the seed of Yeshua sown is the Torah. We have never had to forget it's all about the Torah of Elohim, from Genesis to Deuteronomy. So never counterfeit with that, because that is the word of Elohim. And if you counterfeit with this word of Elohim, you are an enemy of Elohim. If you don't teach that, you are an enemy of Elohim. I have learned that from somebody. But it is true, because that is the Torah. What naidaghang ka makuha sa Torah nga iyang mga pagtalon. And this is why, you have to understand the parallel nganong kinahanglan ta magtuon sa Torah. Because when the children of Israel, first atong pagtanawon sa atong tanawon ng atong forefather, how does they gone through all the way to Sinai. You know the children of Israel, when they came out from Egypt, they went through to the Red Sea, and then they go to the Mount Sinai. So now, when they are in the Red Sea, is a form of baptism. And then after the form of the baptism, and then they go to Mount Sinai. So Mount Sinai is where the Torah was given. It's not just the Ten Commandments. All what's in the Ten Commandments hang the Torah. The Torah of Elohim. We can read it, what Yeshua said. On these two commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Concerning that. So, this why, nga form of kituba, form of marriage contract, an oath and covenant. So, we have to understand that the children of Israel, more than 400 years, they were there in Egypt. So, they don't know it. So now, in the Egypt, that is a country of Egypt, where they were there, they were living. And this is the different, they have a culture, a lifestyle of living, they are behaving. So paganism, everything is in there. So now, when Elohim take us out from this Egypt, our forefather, when he took us out from Egypt, then they passed through to the Red Sea, and that is a form of baptism. So now, ang panaad ni Amang Yuva is to go to the promised land, which is, they said, a land with flowing and milk and honey. So nindot kaayo paminawon sa dalunggan sa mga iyang mga katawan sa mga Israelites. So imagine, mas nindot pa ni dito sa Egypt ang ilahang sitwasyon. So now, but before you will enter in this place, the children of Israel must undergo a test before Elohim. Because Elohim, this is the country of Elohim. He has chosen, as was given to our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is a promised land He has promised to our forefather. So, this is another culture that we have to ma-frame up ilang mind into this as an Israelite. They have to overcome something before they can enter this promised land. They don't know that how into their journey before they come to the land. So now, when Jehovah give the oath, the covenant, which is the Torah, the marriage contract to the children of Israel, ang tubag sa mga Israel, we will do. So now, okay, we will do. So that was the beginning of their journey on the way to the promised land. Because that was the start kung tinuod ba jud ang mga children of Israel nga ni-obey, nga sila mutuman sa ilahang panaad sa Elohim. But it was failure, sila makafollow. So now, gitest sa Elohim kung unsay nas ilang kasing-kasing. Whether they will acknowledge Elohim or not. Gisulayan sila sa Elohim. Paubos sila maayo para makita sa Elohim kung tinuod ba gyud sila nga ni-stick gyud sa Elohim nga mo follow siya whatever comes. To meet the contract of Elohim to say we will do. When Elohim said that, because Elohim is different. The God of Egypt is not the same of the God of Israel. It's Pharaoh, the God there. So they have a Rade, the evil one. No? You see, this God they have believing. So it's not the same God. So they have different frame there. They have different constitution. While into the Canaan, Jehovah has his own also na constitution, which is what they have promised. This is Torah, judgment and the I don't remember now. Mao na panaad sa Elohim nga mao po na i-abide nila before sila maka-enter ani, they must have to learn this kanang culture sa Elohim kung unsa ni iyang mga kasuguan. Mutuman ba sila og dili? Mo abide ba ni sila kay sila dito is a slave from the Egyptian. So now, di pa ubos pud sa Elohim ang ilahang mga kinaiya para sila mo accept gud sila nga mo obey gud sa Elohim. Dini obey gud sa Egyptian, how much more dia, but wa sila katuman. But the situation there, ang akong i-point out din is gusto ang Elohim nga kita ang mga katawhan before sila mo enter is they have a different mindset. They must overcome the test what Elohim has given them before. So mo to gipaubos. You can read that kung asa na dapita nga gi-test sila sa Elohim unsay naas ilang kasing-kasing. So we're gonna read it if you want. You can see that. All the commandments which I command thee this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Jehovah sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which Jehovah the Elohim led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee to know what was in thine heart. So this, you see, iyang gipaubos, gipahumble niya, gipang-humiliate niya iyang mga katawhan, to know gyud nga tinud-anay ba gyud sila nga mo-obey sa Elohim. The wilderness to prove thee to know what was in thine heart, whether thou would keep these commandments or not. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and feed thee with the manna which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man do not live by bread only, but by every word that proceed out of the mouth of Jehovah do man live. You see, gitestingan ang ilahang kasing-kasing, gipahumble sila concerning the parable of the sower. When we come to Mashiach, we believe Mashiach, immerse ourselves. I don't know how you understand this commitment. It is just to believe the name. The right way is, when we immerse ourselves, we commit the way Yeshua walk. This is not sayon nga proseso. Because myself, when my husband has gi-introduce niya ang kaning Torah, ako, nagpaabot pa kung usa ka tuig, usa ko nagpabaptismo. Why? Because my heart was not yet ready to, kung unsa ni akong gisudlan nga pagtulunan, I have to commit. Kung kay lisod man ko kay mo commit ka sa Elohim nga, dili nimo matuman bitaw. Kung andam na badyog ka nga mo subay sa iyang gustong ipasubay sa iyang nga katong ipang tawag niya. So now, karon ni immerse si Mashiach, then this seed is the Torah. The Torah what is sown in the heart of every believer. Ang iyahang Torah. So many have not wala na gi-teach sa kadaghanan ang kabahin ang Torah, but that is the seed of the Torah. Why we need that? The same Torah what our forefather in the Mount Sinai. That is the seed. There's no difference for that. The reason why he wants his children to change also. We came from paganism, we came from different religion, we came from this course of this world. This is Shaul said, to renew our mind. By renewing our mind is by to the Torah. If indeed you have heard him, Yeshua, or the Messiah, and were taught by him, as truth is in Yeshua, that you put off with regard to your former behavior, the old man, being corrupted according to the desires of the deceit, and to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the renewed man which was created according to Elohim in righteousness and set apart of the Torah. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Elohim. So now, pag once na-receive na nimo ang seed ni Messiah, which is the Torah, mao ni maghatag na tuog kausaban, because usab ta ma-change ang ato ang karakter. You know, in Psalm it is written, The Torah of Elohim is perfect, converting the soul. Pag once your soul is converted, then what was said in Psalm 1:1, when you meditate the Torah of Jehovah day and night, and what will happen? Blessed is the man that walk not in the counsel, but his delight is in the Torah of Jehovah, and his Torah do he meditate day and night, and he shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water that bring forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he do shall prosper. So the Torah, what Yeshua sown, become rivers of water that bring forth his fruit in his season. So this is not the same behavior nga atong makabuot while we are still in the world, you know. When we behave like with the world. Shaul said that we cannot yoke with unbeliever. What is don't believe the word of Elohim, and with us come to Yeshua and follow Yeshua and the Torah. This is why he wants his people to be set apart, separate. Because if you want to be part of Jehovah's people, to come to the promised land, atong mindset dapat ma-change not. It must be the mindset of the Torah lifestyle, and no more in the lifestyle of the ways of the heathen, the pagans, the world today, all these people around us. This is why we need to separate. Can you imagine sa atong forefather, they were gitistingan sa to humble day. The same food nato, i-humble po to sa Elohim. Kaysa magpaghahigahi gayta, naagay mo rebuke sa atong mga kuanta, dapat maminaw. Kaya di ka magpaminaw ana, ayaw lang pagdaho, ayaw pagbuhat nga ang Elohim na may mo rebuke nato. Mo rebuke sa tagsa-tagsa, kay na ang moro ba na pinaka sakit nang sa Elohim. I tell you, sakit ang sa Elohim, kaya lang sa tao lang. Garbura nang sa tao nga di ta maminaw sa mga rebuke sa tao. We have to think about that. So, mao na nga, kung gihumble sila, walay partiality sa Elohim. Kita pod karon i-humble po ta sa Elohim. Because He wants His people renew their mind by the Torah and not the way of the heathen. Because the world today is also an Egypt. So you have to understand that the world today is like an Egypt. So you have to understand, we come from Egypt and we are now in the wilderness, and Jehovah will humble us. If we humble us, then what will happen? He will know what is in our heart if we really follow Messiah. You see, kana lang siya mooy pattern. So this why we need the Torah to study, because that will change us, and it will bear fruit, righteousness, and that righteousness, that will be the garment sa atong kaugalingon when we are invited for the coming wedding of Messiah. So this is why I said we have to study the parable of the sower, because we have to know what is that seed where, because in the parable of the wedding invitation, you will see kinsa tong gipagawas. I will make another video for that. Katong gipang invite sa wedding. You will see what is why he was thrown. Kabaw siya na ikasal, then he go there and sabaan siya kay he's not wearing the garment. And our garment is our body. And that this body, it must be changed from the Torah. So that is our ticket for entering to the wedding feast of Messiah. So I hope na amoy nakuha ana nga. Kada myself, I'm very sure for that, because the word of Elohim, kung ibasa ito scripture, I can give you the verses, all the verses nga akong nabasahan, nga mauna siya ang mauna siya ticket na to. Okay? You cannot go to the wedding with your own righteousness. And we know what is righteousness. Those heart is in the Torah. 51:7. Isaiah 51:7. That is. So I hope makakuha mo aning pagtulunan, maghatag og to fight for this, and because you know the time is short. This I can say, the time is short. We need to wake up. We have not to sleep. It's time to fire in our devotion to Elohim, because suddenly when the enemy strike in this world, and if we are not ready, then I tell you, the fire will come. Let this fire first in our life, the tribulation in life, you know, to die for ourselves and forget all what is for this world, because I tell you, the kingdom of Elohim. When Yeshua reigns time, this is a different life compared karon. This kingdom we have now is kingdom from Satan. So this why naate mga pagsulay, because this is a fight between the two. Our inside, the carnal person and the inner person. Mo ni siya fight na to, and we have to make this. This is why the seed must die first. When we die for ourselves, die first in ourselves, then mutubo ni siya sa atong kinabuhi. Kay ang mo follow to ang ruwa naman, ang the spirit. Mo ni gingon ni Charles nga, we have to walk in the spirit, because this is how Elohim will please us. Nga mo-obey ta niya is gentle. So if there is resistance, is because of our flesh. So that flesh, all this worldly stuff na to nga napanghunahuna, ato ni isubay sa kabubuton sa Elohim. Kay if not, then we go by force, and if it is not Elohim, then it will be, because you are a child of Elohim, he will spank us. So now, so mao na nga kanang kining seed na to, either we die for ourselves now, or we will undergo the fire when Yeshua come back. Because if you see in Revelation 7, there is a great tribulation there. So if you want to be part of that great tribulation, I tell you, it's not you just imagine a World War II, War 1, you will see, this is not an easy, but once ang inside is ready, there is shalom. So you are not worried to die. Nindot sa siya. So I hope nga Jehovah will guide us, and we can go through this. Mabuo na lang nga panahon. Tagay na lang pasensya, and then you will see, we will have 1,000 years with Yeshua to reign. And this what is now is nothing compare what we have now. We're in the end times now. We're in the last hour of our time. So nakuhaan nga pagtulunan, so it would be good nga ma-learning nyo. So ang panaminan is what is in the wilderness. He want a mature people. He want that his people is renewed in the Torah lifestyle, set apart people, kadosh people, walk in the spirit. Because that is when we walk in the spirit, then we cannot fulfill the lust of the flesh. This is what Charles said. Shalom and bye-bye.